I've been thinking a lot about how we actually learn who we are. And I keep coming back to this. We learn who we are in practice, in the actual doing of something, and not in the theory of it. You can talk about growth, read about courage, or imagine what success might look like, but none of that really shows you who you are. You only find that out in motion, in the actual doing of whatever it is you want to be doing. To get better at anything, your craft, your mindset, your relationship, you have to be willing to take small risks. Small risks are the only way to actually get improvement. If we don't take any risks, we don't grow. And that doesn't mean waiting for things to be perfect or even right straight away. The theory is to try something and then self-evaluate. So after trying something new, or especially if you've been doing something for a long time and you're quite comfortable in that. So I'll choose a really simplistic example. Say I'm pretty decent at basketball, but not 100%, but how can I improve? The only way to improve is to do something differently, is to take a risk with the way I hold my hands or how low I squat down before I use my legs to force the ball up and my body up. Like, what is it I need to change, and what little tweaks can I make to what I'm doing already that will actually help me grow? And so the idea is that behind each new choice you make and each little tweak you make, reassessing what happened in that moment, like asking, what did I learn about myself? Or what surprised me? What sparked curiosity or excitement? Or what's something I might actually be good at that I'm not using right now? And I think that last one is something we saw in the interview with Dave Hughes, where he was dreaming of being an AFL player, but he also had this innate ability to make people laugh. And although he pursued the AFL dream with all he had for a long time, when it came down to it, through him not succeeding in AFL, he kind of drew on other strengths and realized, actually, I'm really funny. Maybe this is something I could be using. And it's interesting because I think these questions are actually where the real learning sits. Because when we reflect, we notice the more subtle stuff like patience or creativity, or the parts of us that come alive when we're challenged. So back to the basketball, if I'm continually doing the same layup shot the same way, but I'm just not having a huge success rate, then that would be frustrating. I would have to look at what was going on and how I could change that. We spend so much of our lives trying to figure things out before we begin, trying to have it right. And I look at even me starting this podcast and I was like, I have to know, I have to have all these things are done. But I realized that the beauty in what I was wanting to do was actually in the learning and in the growth that was going to come through doing it. And so I decided that's what I was going to share. Because if we wait for the perfect time, the perfect idea, the perfect vision of ourselves, we may never start, because I'm not sure that ever arrives. I think we are always in growth and always in learning, or hopefully we are. But the truth is, the learning only happens once you step in. So you really need to take that first step. Think about the last time you tried something new. Maybe it didn't go perfectly. Maybe it was messy or uncomfortable. And often that is the time when people retreat and they go back to what they know is safe and it's not going to make them feel vulnerable or awkward. But I bet if you think back now, it showed you something you didn't know before about either your resilience or your interests or maybe even your limits. And these things are really important to really understand ourselves, and that because we can use that information to help move forward. And the goal is never to be flawless. I don't even know if that's possible, but it's to participate, to show up, collect information, about who you are along the way and what makes you scared and makes you excited and makes you joyous. And then use that and continue to build that understanding of yourself. When we allow ourselves to try, we start to see that progress doesn't come from the theory of it. It comes from the experience. And each new attempt of courage and adventure, it brings awareness and it brings understanding. And each small risk builds confidence. Over time, these moments stack up into growth that you couldn't have planned. So you don't need a master plan, I realize. You just need movement, because clarity doesn't come before courage. It comes after it. You just have to start. So maybe this week, instead of asking, what should I do? Ask, what can I try? And when you try it, stay open to what it teaches you. And hopefully it's something new, but also something that interests you. Something that actually brings a smile to your face. Thanks for listening to Jules FM. If something in this episode sparked a link, take the step, find your courage, and see what happens. And don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss any of the exciting episodes to come. Until next time.